All right, we're back with another pick'em video. It is Friday, May 16th, and we're going to be talking the WNBA in this one. If you're looking for NBA content, I did post the Celtics versus Knicks video picks before this, so go check the video out, or maybe I'll even post it up. It might pop up, wherever. But yeah, we're going to be talking about WNBA in this one. Excited for WNBA to start. Obviously, that's more basketball for us to watch. I know some people don't, it's not their bread and butter to watch the games. I do not watch it as much as the NBA. I'm not as knowledgeable as the WNBA as the NBA. I think that's just, natural, a lot more growing up watching the NBA and more recently getting into the WNBA. But pretty much what you guys need to know is it's going to be very unpredictable to start the season, I think, unless you're a very, very diehard WNBA watcher. Then you might be able to say like, oh, I think this guy's going to get more, or girl is going to get more minutes here, there, whatever. There was just a ton of different movement in the WNBA. A lot of different players going different places, free agency signings, players that have played pretty much their entire careers going to different teams, like Brittany Griner. The Connecticut Sun pretty much gutted their entire team, broke up two players that were engaged. I think they're getting married in Dejanay Carrington and Alyssa Thomas. So they're on different teams now. So a lot of different movement. We have a whole other team in the league. So there's 13 teams now with the Golden State Valkyrie. So there's a lot of different unknowns, especially for me, who's a novice watcher of the WNBA. I'm super excited to look at the stats and how these players start playing, how defenses are looking throughout the season, things like that. So that's why I'm going to preface this video saying I'm going to be a lot more confident, 5, 6, 7, 10 games into the season. But with that said, I do have a little bit of knowledge here in understanding who's coming in, who's going to be playing a lot of minutes and things like that. And we are going to be looking at projected minutes. That's where a lot of my bets are going to come from to start the season as we get a few games under our belt. So if that sounds cool and you guys are interested in WNBA content as the NBA starts to wind down, there's not going to be every day. We have NBA, and of course it's going to end at some point. But yeah, we got a lot of tools and things like that are going to make betting on the WNBA a lot more fun. And it's always fun to have something out there, even in the summer when maybe you're not a big baseball fan, you like the basketball scene. You still got WNBA to watch, or at least check the box scores and see how your plays are doing. So if that sounds cool, let me know in the comments down below that you guys are interested in WNBA content. And let's hop into the 3 games that we got going on today. All right, so hopping over to RotoWire, we're going to look at the 3 games real quick, but I'm going to focus on the later game, and I'm going to start with the later game as well, just because this thing's coming out a little bit later, and I don't want everyone to watch this, and maybe it's past 7:30, and you missed the first 2 games. So I'm going to focus on the Sparks and the Valkyrie, specifically the Sparks right here. I'm going to start with, because I think Azurá Stevens is going to be a pretty solid spot here to go to. I have like a plus 400 play to looking at a double-double for Azurá Stevens, because, I don't know, plus 400 for a starting center, the 6'6" center on this team. That's the biggest person on the court for sure, at least on her team, and what she can do in that much time. I think it's a pretty good spot for us to look. So I'm gonna be looking at her. I'm gonna look at Rickea Jackson, someone I looked at the end of last year when she started getting more minutes, and she seems to be just picking that up right in the preseason game that they had. And Azurá Stevens, I'll show that first. They played this exact team. She played 22 minutes in that game, grabbed 11 rebounds overall. You can expect maybe a few more minutes here in a normal regular season game. So I think Azurá Stevens at plus 400, plus 500 for a double-double is something I'm really enjoying. But here's what she did last year, 25 to 40 minutes. She was able to go over this line, his 7.5 rebound line, minus 106, so it's actually favored on the under here. So I think we're getting good value even just on the rebounds line, but I think a double-double is absolutely in the air as well. If you look at her points, she went over the 10 points pretty much every game except for one. And again, now they're going up against a team that is probably the worst team in the league. A makeshift team. They just put this team together. So the draft expansion, how that goes, get always the players you want to get. The defense probably has to lock in. They're not all used to playing with each other probably just yet. Obviously the preseason was there. They had 2 preseason games. They had a couple practices here and there, I'm sure. But they're not going to be as well put together as a team that's been together for a little bit longer. So I think the defense is going to be a little bit, harder to come by. I think plays are going to be a little bit harder to run, and the Valkyrie might miss a lot more shots. So on the offensive end, the defensive end for a girl like Azurá Stevens, especially the center down there, sometimes it's easy if there's a lapse in defense, whether it's an open 3, which she can knock down the threes, or she's open down low to get a layup. That's something that's going to bode well for her. So I like her points. I like her rebounds, especially at 7.5. I think there's a lot of upside for her. So I'm going to be focusing on her for the first play of the video. And I also want to focus on Rickea Jackson. I was initially looking at Kelsey Plum, thinking about the usage she might get, but also the defense is going to have to lock in on her a little bit more. Now she's the number 1 scorer, leading option on her team. And Rickea Jackson is someone that might be, the person that gets a little bit more freedom to play with less defensive attraction to her. She shot the most times in preseason, the one game that they did have, which doesn't say the whole story. Obviously, the minutes weren't there for everyone, but it was good to see that she shot well, and she shot the most out of anyone pretty much on the team. So I like what I could see from Rickea Jackson in this opportunity too. 15.5 points right here. She's a decent rebounder, but I think a lot of those rebounds are going to go to her teammate in Stevens. So I'm just going to go to her points at 15.5. I don't mind that. It's plus money. I'm sure you can find this at 14.5. So definitely 14.5 is the way I'd be looking at it. But you can see the beginning of the year versus the end of the year for her was night or day. She started getting a lot more minutes once Cameron Brink goes down and she sees a little bit more opportunity. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Rickea Jackson here, especially what she did in preseason. I think she shot 5 of 10 at 13 points in 20 something minutes. Now we can expect 30 probably or so minutes, and if she's going to see 30 plus minutes on the court, she's over this in 71% of games, 73% of games. So that's good to see. I think Rickea Jackson, someone that's young, ready to be a scorer on this team, could be a great look here. So Rickea Jackson for points, Azare Stevens for a double-double for a plus 500 play, or just the rebounds. I'm liking both these girls for the Sparks. And then quickly on the other side of the court for the Valkyrie, Julie Vanloo, who is an overseas player, comes in here. I don't know how much time she's going to get on the court, but if she can get some time in the court, I think her assist line is going to be looking pretty good. In preseason, she was kind of splitting minutes between Veronica Burton, who's a younger player, so I'm not sure what direction they're going to go to. I'm sure they'll probably split time, see who's going to be playing better, see who fits better for what they're trying to do out there. But 3.5 assists for plus money, plus 100. Pretty good look that I think. If she's going to get 18 plus minutes, she's over this in 75% of games. I don't know if she's going to get 30 whatever minutes, but 18 to 28 minutes, let's even say 22 to 28 minutes. She doesn't need that much time on the court. Now, if they're going to be splitting minutes, it's probably going to be more like 15 to 20 minutes. So that turns into a 42% hit rate. So if she's going to get the time on the court, which RotoWire does project her to get a decent amount of time over Veronica Burton, I'm not sure if that's the way it's going to go, especially considering what preseason looked like. But she did have a pretty good game in preseason. She was able to get 6 assists in one of the games. I think she had 3 assists in the other game in limited minutes. So I think she's definitely a distributor on this team. And if the old woman in Tiffany Hayes, she's the best player on this team right now, but definitely on the older side, goes down or limits her minutes in some sort of way, whatever it might be. If Vanloo can get time in the court, essentially is what this comes down to. I think she's in a pretty good spot to definitely get some assists, over 3.5 or plus 100. I think that's something you got to dabble with. And I think I forgot to mention, if you're wondering what the tool I'm using right now for the WNBA is, it's Props Madness. It shows obviously a bunch of different stats, but really something that I can't even just show off just yet because of the difference in the league from last year to this year. So much movement, so much player adjustment, so many new head coaches, a new team. A lot of these stats are going to be a little bit outdated, but once we get 5, 6, 7, 8 games under our belt, these things will start to update and we'll be able to see how players get assists and how their defenses rank up, how similar types of players lines that get assists like, here's Julie Vanloo, similar types of players that get assists like her, how they're doing against their lines, how they're scoring, how kind of players they score like, spot up, pick and roll ball handling, how the defenses rank up against that. It gives you so much different information, and it's going to be such a useful tool for us. So if you're wondering and if you want to get access to Props Madness, you can actually check it out for a free week using my code in the description down below. It's code RICH, and then you also get 25% off your first month or your first year. And of course, I've been using this for WNBA all year, and it's amazing. It's a game changer for sure. In the playoffs for the NBA, it gets a little bit different because defensive schemes change so much. Again, for the WNBA this year specifically, there was so much movement. It's going to be a little bit harder until we get those stats to start updating. But once we get a few games under our belt, it's an absolute game changer, and it can let you know like so many different facts, so many different stats, all these different filters that I get to mess around with. It's a lot of fun to use, and it really gives you an edge in this. So definitely check out Props Madness. Code in the description down below, code RICH. That moves us into our next play here, and it's going to be Arike Ogunbowale. I think I'm just going to go over her points here at 19.5. Obviously, the hit rate on this is great. She was kind of a one-man show last year and was awesome, and she's got a little bit more talent around her now. Paige Bucher's coming in as the rookie, Dejanay Carrington coming in from the Connecticut Sun last year, a bunch of other players here. So the team definitely got a re-ramp. I don't think they're going to be amazing this year, but I think it gives Arike more space to work, and she's actually come out and said that. So I think with the more space, with her, being an opportunity opportunity to get even easier buckets or whatever it might be. She's going to be knocking down some threes. Her line's at 2.5 right now. If she's going to be able to get to the basket with some spacing with Buchers on the floor, whatever it might be, I think she's going to be able to, even work even harder this year. And I think the talent around her takes less away from her and actually gives her a boost in terms of like her scoring and things like that. So head to head, we saw last year she went over in every single game against this team. And this team is one of the teams that didn't make too many big changes. This Lynx team is pretty much running it back with the main crew that they had last year. So that's good to see that she was able to have pretty good success against this team overall. The way they play defense, they kind of run people off the 3-point line and they do a lot of their damage inside. She's kind of a 3-volume scorer. Sure, she can get some of her points from the top of the paint, but again, pick and roll ball handling, that's what they were a little bit weaker on. Transition, she's someone that can really score against anyone. So sure, defensively, they're a pretty good squad over there and they're running it back kind of, but I think Arike is going to be, fine to score the ball against really anyone in this league. So I think Arike in a good spot here to continue her trajectory towards being one of the best players in this league. And 19.5, and I saw this at 20.5. I see that it comes down to 19.5. Sometimes that makes me second guess myself, but at the same time, I think I liked it at 20.5. I'll definitely take it at 19.5 for sure. So minus 122 for 19.5. Take one of the best players in the league to score some more points as she just continues to get better and better. And I think it makes a lot of sense with the talent around her, how this team's constructed, and gives her a little bit more space to work. Lastly, if you're a little bit scared that the defense of the Lynx is going to slow them down, and maybe it does, this is what she was able to do against good defenses. This is the way we can use some of these advanced filters, considering the Lynx didn't change too much from last year. We can see they were a top 3 defense last year. If we go to like top 4 defenses, this is what Arike was able to do in terms of her scoring. So she was still able to get some buckets against some of the harder teams in the league. If you go to bottom 3, she's still over this in 60% of games. I think she's just got an extra year under her belt now, and I think she's even going to be a little bit better with Paige Buchers there. I think she could do some scoring, but at the same time, I think Arike is going to benefit even more from her facilitating and playmaking here. So I'm liking Arike to go over 19.5 points. Move along to this Mystics team, which is pretty horrible. It's going to be a bottom 3 team in the league, led by Brittany Sykes, who I think is going to probably shoot a decent amount of times, whether she knocks down her shots or not. If you could bet on her, field goals attempted or something, I think she gets at least 12 shots, probably more. Sonia Citrone is someone that's interesting. She's a rookie. There's obviously no stats here, but she's probably going to get a decent amount of shots up. Kiki, in the preseason, it was kind of hit or miss for these rookies. None of them are like ridiculously good. Sonia Citrone was a top 3 pick for a reason. I think she probably gets a decent amount of volume, which is why I see her line starting to go to 10.5. I saw it at 9.5. So that's starting to rise up. But the one person I want to fade here, I want to take an under on Sug Sutton at 7.5 points. One of the preseason games, she played 30 minutes, and I went ahead and actually looked at some of that gameplay. She does not look to score the ball very often at all. That's entire career. She can rebound a little bit. She can get some assists a little bit, but she does not look to score the ball very much. She's an okay defender as well. So, Sug Sutton, if you're going to get, this is last year, obviously totally different situation. She's projected for 18 minutes, but like 16 to 25 minutes. Sure, she got over in a few of these games, but she doesn't shoot very much. So she's got to shoot a very good percentage. Here's 57%, 80%, 57% to actually get over. And again, some of these games, 20 minutes, she shoots 4 times and goes 0 for 4. Just like that preseason game that I'm looking at here. She goes for 30 minutes in this game, which is the most I've seen in pretty much for anyone in preseason. But that I don't think translates to a lot of minutes in the regular season. I just think she's kind of a glue person to get people involved and get people going. So yes, 0 for 5 in that game, 0 points. She did chip in with 7 rebounds, 5 assists. She's an underrated, maybe undersized rebounder for her size. She's definitely a facilitator, through and through, and I think that's the reason they might play her a little bit in this season to get these rookies good looks and things like that. But I don't think she's out there to score the ball. So Sug Sutton under 7.5 points. I'm liking that possibility for sure. So I think it's going to do it for us in this one, talking about the WNBA. Again, only 3 games. There's usually not huge slates for WNBA, so just get used to that. And we also just need a few games on our belt to really start locking into how these teams are playing with all the changes that happened in the league this year. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, whether you're actually watching the games or whether you're just focusing on the game log and the box score that you bet on. It's something fun to have in the summer. And again, I recommend throwing it on if you're not doing anything, maybe on a second TV or on your phone or something like that. just have the game on. It's just basketball to watch. And some of these girls, I know the low lights get shined on in Instagram when making fun of it and everything. But there's some hoopers out there. A lot of these players are really, really good. Some of these players are really, really good. And it can be very entertaining for sure, especially when you get a close game. So this is what we got going on for the first video for WNBA this year. Azare Stevens over 7.5 rebounds. If you want to mess around with a double-double, I know I'm going to be for plus 400. I think that's an option here. Rakia Jackson, same team, over 14.5 points. Arike Ogunbowale over 19.5 points. And then Sugg Sutton, you'll be our only fade today. Not because you are bad, but just because you're not a scorer. You're out there facilitating, get those rookies involved under 7.5 points. So that's going to do it for me in this one. If you guys want access to all my picks, you can actually check out the links in the description down below. It's a step-by-step process of how to get into my Discord community. I also want to mention if you want NBA picks, I posted an NBA video, so go check that out. I posted that earlier today. So show that some love. And yeah, plenty of different ways to get into the Discord for free. Signing up for Underdog, PrizePicks, Betr, Sleeper, Parlay, Play, any of my different platforms using my code. Just let me know in the comments section or in the free part of the Discord. You can join that. And then just to DM me or something, say, hey, I use your code. I'd like to get in for a free month, and I'll go ahead and do that. Just send me a screenshot of whatever you won, the platforms that you used using my code, and I'll get you in for that free month. So that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully more WNBA to come, especially with NBA slowing down. I don't think we have any NBA games tomorrow. Maybe we do, but I don't think we do. Yeah, that will do it for us. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets. Peace out.